Is it possible to make cities sustainable? Well, yeah, of course it is. I absolutely believe that. I mean, we flew people to the moon, possibly soon to Mars. We developed vaccines against the most deadliest viruses that exist. We are able to create hydrogen out of solar power. So why shouldn't we be able to make cities more sustainable or fully sustainable? No, I think the question is not really if it's possible to do it. The question is, do we really want to? I believe at the moment, I'm afraid the answer is no. We currently see so many exciting things happen in cities around the world. And I think what's most striking right now is that we see more and more leaders and politicians and business people to really take action. And it seems as if we're transit from a time where we talk about things going to we actually act about it. And if there's one single thing or one single case I would have to single out, it's probably the case of the city of Oslo's climate budget. We all know how budgeting works. You know, you get a certain figure and that's what you can spend in a certain period within your department, for example. But with the climate budget, it's somewhat similar. So you also get a figure, but that's the figure of CO2 that your sector, that you are responsible for, can emit. So whether you're responsible for mobility or for housing or for schooling or for whatever department in your city, you are fully accountable to meet that number. And you need to act upon it, because the thing is that number gets smaller every year until the city finally reaches its 95% reduction target by 2030. And the cool thing about it also is that it's an open document or an open budget. So all the citizens can access this. They know exactly where the city stands, where the different departments and sectors stand, what are the measures they are undertaking, what are the effects of these measures now, and also what are the measures they're taking in the next year or in 2 years or in 3 years, so that everybody who's interested knows what's coming down the road. And the most important fact is that this budget holds every manager and every politician absolutely accountable for their decisions and how they develop towards the goal of CO2 reduction. And I think it's an incredibly effective management and also communications tool. And I'm absolutely not surprised that there are many cities around the world who are looking at Oslo and find out how to do it. I strongly believe that everybody can actively engage in making his or her neighborhood more sustainable and healthier place. 2 things. First, look at your own behavior. Do I need to do my grocery shopping with a car? Do I need to order from Amazon every day, or can I put it together in one order once a week? How can I reduce my energy use? How can I reduce my water use? Is there maybe a way to better shop or cook so that I don't create so much food waste? There are so many potential starting points. Just look for them. Second thing, look at your neighborhood. What should be done? What could be done there? Is it more green space? Is it nicer public areas where people want to spend time? Do you want safer cycling routes? Whatever it is, I'm sure you come up with many different ideas, and then you select what matters most to you and you go for it. Yeah, you go for it. Just do it. Those are probably the most important words if you want to drive change. Just do it. Find others who share your view, and you go out and plant trees, or you go out and plant flowers, or you go out and talk to city councillors to get more green space. You create a trial to remove parking from your area and create instead some community places, or you make a car-free day in your street. Whatever it is, just do it. I believe that circular economies have a huge potential to transform our cities. But I think what's even more important is that it has a huge potential to transform our way of thinking. If people engaged in circular initiatives, it really helps them to understand the many different material flows that are out there, and in particular, how these material flows and their own actions impact the environment. I give you an example. So you probably have a feeling, how much paper waste you throw out every week, every day, whatever. But as a single person, you really don't grasp the impact this action has on the system on a city level, or even bigger than that. And if, for example, the people of New York City would start get a better feeling of their waste, of their paper waste, they would find out that if they recycled all their paper they throw away, it would save them enough energy to power more than 650,000 New York City households for a year. So a better understanding on seemingly small changes and how these changes could impact big time if they're scaled, I think that will help us as a society to become more sensitive about materials, about their use, and about the impact on the environment. I would like city governments to focus on two key areas in order to accelerate the transition to sustainable cities. First, I really want them to focus on CO2 emissions and be fully accountable for it. Because whenever we reduce CO2 emissions, chances are big that we're making our city more sustainable and that we're helping our environment. To start with, that requires a clear vision. Where do we want to be in 5 years, in 10 years down the road? It also requires a strategy. How are we going to achieve that? What are the challenges that we need to tackle in order to achieve that? And since pretty much anything within tackling climate change is also an opportunity to create new jobs, I think city governments should give a very reliable perspective to its stakeholders, to citizens, to entrepreneurs on where we're heading. Second, I would really like governments to start taking action. We just need to get more into the doing part and stop thinking about and talking about what should be and what could be done. We don't need governments that try to protect the status quo, while in fact we need to change pretty much every aspect of our life today. Oh, and there's actually a third one. I'd like governments to really empower their citizens to be the drivers of change. Make sure that people act, and make sure that people understand that it's upon them and not upon the politicians to drive the change. Don't rely on the politicians to drive the change, because it's the people who change the society. It's not the politicians. So make sure people go out and change.